Hey, what's up guys, it's Matt. This video is going to be part 7 and actually the last part of where we dive into understanding candlestick charts. So if you guys end up enjoying this video and this whole series as a whole, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet subscribed. So I figured that it would make sense to conclude this series because basically everything after this ties more into understanding the overall market structure and price action. With that being said, in this video, I figured it would be a good idea to simply cover some common misconceptions that I would see online or based on some questions that I would get in previous videos. So the first common misconception is that candlestick charts are the only ones that should be used as a technical trader and that nothing else is viable, or truly no other chart style makes any sense at all, so there's no point of using it. Now, the reason why I personally disagree with this belief is that when it comes to trading, there's a lot of subjectivity to it, depending on the market that you're trading, your trading plan, your trading style, and so you have different types of chart styles that might be useful under certain market conditions or simply due to personal preference. On top of candlestick charts, which are very common, and I personally find them incredibly useful as a visual tool for us to easily spot the difference between the open, the high, the low, and the close of each bar. You also have a simplified version, which is essentially a bar chart, which, as you guys can see, is similar to a candlestick chart, except that we don't see the difference between the wicks and the candle bodies. We have line charts, which won't show you the highs and the lows after a certain bar closes, and so all we can see is the closing prices. But some traders prefer the simplicity, or they might use it for drawing trend lines or drawing support and resistance levels. So there's many different ways to apply them, and sometimes switching between these options can be helpful as well, depending on the market conditions. Now, the second misconception that's pretty common is that candlestick charts can 100% predict the future. So as long as you understand them, you know exactly what's going to happen next. So this is where I simply wanted to remind you guys that nothing in the markets, unless you're maybe an insider trader that works for the government, there's nothing in the market that will 100% guarantee that you can look into the future. All that we can truly do as technical traders is look back and utilize the past market data that has been provided to us. So the market structure, the price action, looking at the volume, looking at the order flow, if that's something that you do, and using those catalysts on top of understanding candlestick charts can help improve your probable odds of potentially spotting a good setup. Now, a lot of this ties into needing to practice looking at charts and analyzing charts and understanding the patterns of price action and the market structure. And in that case, candlestick charts can be useful as an additional tool. And in addition to that, I can also take advantage of the fact that the markets are fractal, meaning that when you switch between different time frames, the market structure and the trends and the market conditions will be quite different. And so even right now, we can see that the last couple of weekly candles, we see that we had a bullish rally. Now the past 3 or 4 weeks or so have been essentially trapped in a range. And so now if I drop down to the daily chart, and now if I were to perhaps look for a trade as an intraday trader, the market structure is approaching the top of this range on this daily chart, and this previous daily candle closed bearish with a wick that tested this upper region. So if I were to drop down to an even lower chart, like the 2-hour chart or the 1-hour chart, I would know that based on the higher market structure and what I saw on the higher candlestick charts, there's a greater probable likelihood that we can perhaps drop down and test the middle of this range. And now I can plan ahead of time of where I have a greater risk to reward ratio, where I could potentially look for a breakout or a break and retest, where I can place my take profit, my stop loss, etc. Now, the last misconception that I quickly wanted to cover is how once you learn candlestick charts, everything else is easy. And this is far from true, despite the fact that the overall foundation of understanding candlestick charts is pretty basic. So it might take you a couple of weeks or maybe a few months to fully grasp the concept of candlestick charts and understand the basics of price action and the market structure, depending on how many hours you have to dedicate towards analyzing the charts and practicing. But everything else will also tie into a big aspect of trading, which is the psychological aspect. And I have another series on my channel where I discuss different emotional setbacks and some potential solutions in order to perhaps resolve some of these psychological issues. And so the point of this is to remind you that you shouldn't be frustrated if you've just figured out candlestick charts and the basics of trading, and a couple of months or even a couple of years in, you're still struggling a little bit, because in general, trading is not easy and it takes a lot of time, and some people will figure it out quicker than other people, but that's simply the reality of it. And on top of understanding candlestick charts, it's important to also understand different concepts such as the volume or the price action or the order flow and the market structure and other fundamental catalysts, which we shouldn't forget about. But I hope that at least doing a quick recap of a lot of these misconceptions will guide you guys in the right direction. So that's everything for this video. If you guys managed to stick around throughout this entire series and you found it helpful, be sure to drop a like. And as a reminder, if you haven't joined my trading community, the links are provided down in the description to the Telegram app and the Discord app. There's hundreds of members. Be sure to join if you haven't joined yet. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.